We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Live life in its totality. Live life in its totality. You would have heard the name of Omar Khayyam. He was born and brought up in the city of Naysapur in Iran, amidst the tribe that make their living by making the tents. He wrote couplets of 4 lines, so it is not a couplet, it is quartet, which was translated in 1857 by David Fitzgerald. Thus he introduced the wisdom of Omar Khayyam to the Western world. One of these quartets are known as Rubai. We know much about Rumi, but not much about Omar Khayyam. One of the Rubai which has been translated by a poet and sung by one of the singers, ghazal singers. क्या हो हासिल उनके जिक्र से जो पीकर मस्त हुए हैं. What shall you gain, O fool?
It's 6 hours.
What shall you gain, O fool, by talking about those who are drunk and gone? But this is what we are doing, we have been doing, and in that we have become spiritually constipated. If I have heard there was a tourist spot where people used to go for honeymoon, and the tourist guide, he used to guide and instruct all the visitors about honeymoon and its intricacies, what has to be done and what has not to be done. So one day someone asked, you seem to be very knowledgeable. He said, I am knowledgeable, but I have no experience. I have gathered this information from the scriptures of honeymoon, male-female relation. When you live life in its totality, you experience, then it is easier. We come under the influence of the awakened ones. We follow these like a child following the stories. We are fascinated by it, but child has no experience, whether it is Asif's fables or anything else. Many times you have come under the influence of the awakened ones, be it Mahavir, be it Buddha, be it Muhammad, and we loudly sermon on Jesus. He brought out Lazarus out of the grave. We talk about Mirazul Nabi, when Hazrat Payghambar Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went walked in the company of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the bodily form. These are all parables, and the philosophers, thinkers, the experts on the scriptures are giving their own interpretations without having lived the life totality. None of these scholars have the slightest experience of mirage, slightest experience of what has happened to Buddha, or what had happened to Mahabir or Jesus. Many times, whatever has happened to Buddha that led him to his awakening, that was the outcome of living life in its totality. I have heard a girl who was brought up in a religious family, in the family of the masters, their influence. She got married into a rich family where the father-in-law was a businessman. So one day the father-in-law asked the girl, we have everything in our life. We have prosperity, we have money, we have wealth, but you doesn't seem to be happy at all. So she said she was following Buddha very closely, was influenced by his achievements or what had happened to her. She said the problem is this: in this house we eat only leftover foods. It was a parable. So the father-in-law said, what is the problem in that? We have money, we have the merchandise in our storehouse. You can cook every day fresh food. She said, I don't mean that. I mean there is no awakening. We are only engrossed in the worldly affairs. Nothing is being done for the spiritual life. So then he started following Buddha. When he started going to his sermons, and when he will return, he will repeat, he will start speaking to the people. Whatever Buddha was saying, Buddha said so, Buddha said that. So again, he realized the girl was not happy. She said, now what is the problem? I have started following Buddha. He said, now you are only distributing the rancid meals. What Buddha has experienced is not your experience. You have heard it like the child listening to the Aesop's fables or the stories of Superman, Superwoman, and is fascinated by that, and now enacting that. So you are enacting Buddha, but without being Buddha. Buddha was born in a kingly family. He was the king, and it was told that by the astrologers that this man either will become a great king or he will renounce the world. But the second possibility of him renouncing the world is more prominent. So his father made all the arrangements that Buddha does not see anything that could move him away from the worldly life. So in the garden, the astrologer said he may see a leaf turning yellow and then fall down. A question may arise in his mind. So in the garden where Buddha was living, there was a beautiful garden. The gardeners used to work all night to remove all the dried and the yellow leaves so that Buddha could not see. There were beautiful women around him, and the party as usual used to go on, drinking and all that. One night it happened, the fateful night when Buddha renounced the world. He was amidst the women, the party was going on. All the beautiful girls, more beautiful than you could ever imagine. And in the night he woke up. He saw all of them drunk and lying down on the floor in a very awkward position. Somebody's hair were disabled. The clothes were disabled, and flies were hovering around their face. Buddha, in amidst this, saw that all that beauty was a mere illusion for him. And as such, beauty is a paradox. It is a relative phenomena to the mind. When you are happy, you will see the beauty all around. And when you are saddened, you are in a good relationship with someone, you will find that person beautiful. You will not see any shortcoming in him. And the moment things turn sour, the opposite side comes in. And if Buddha saw, he lived the life in its totality, and then when he saw the beauty, all that he was running behind was nothing else but an illusion. There is no surprise in it. On the contrary, there is a beggar. You are like a beggar. You have seen, the beggar has seen the woman from far away. No woman was available to him, or if any woman was available to him, was not as beautiful as Buddha had experienced beauty. It all depends on your life. If you come from a well-to family, you have a good job, prosperity, in relation to that you will get the partner. His dreams remain unfulfilled. There was no satiation. Neither the involvement was deep. It was only on the surface. Desire continued to remain unfulfilled. They started roaming all around. In thousands of faces he started seeing, and the dreams remain alive. This is the situation of each one of us. We are never satiated with what we have. We have a woman, we have a man, we have not lived the life in its totality. Unfulfillment remains, and unsatiated desires continue to wander in search of fulfillment, but it does not happen that way. Now, this man have heard what Buddha said. Buddha is influential. There is no doubt about it. And in that state of awakening, the words become magical. His vision becomes magical. Wherever he looks, it is the glow, like the sun rays are coming, emitting out of his being. This what was experienced by Sister Nivedita when Swami Vivekananda was speaking in Parliament of Religions in September 1893 in Chicago. After the main sermon, Vivekananda had many talks. One day, a young girl named Nivedita, Margaret Noble, who came to be known as Nivedita. Nivedita is a very beautiful word. Nivedan means you are making an humble request. This is my humble request to you. So Nivedan is the verb. Nivedita is a noun out of that. So Swamiji, when you were speaking in the Parliament of Religions, it was appearing as if the rays of light was emitting out of your being. Vivekananda, what he said, that is the word of every awakened one. He said, when I was speaking in the Parliament of Religions, the words were mine, the voice was mine, even the punctuation was mine, but the force behind my voice was of that haggard man. When someone attains to awakening, that creates enormous energy field, and words emit, words flow, riding the wings of the energy field, and it is magical, it is miraculous. Whoever he casts his glance at, he gets infatuated and comes to him. Whoever his energy field touches, within him a new dimension opens up. You have heard Buddhas, you have heard Mahavirs, you have heard Kabir, you have heard Nanak, you have heard Muhammad, you have heard many others. And Buddha said, whatever he is saying, that everything is useless. Buddha is saying this after realizing the futility of beauty, futility of life. There is something beyond that. You have not come out of that state, and you are using the words of Buddha that the women, the life, the money, the prosperity, all is useless. You have not known the futility of women, you have not known the futility of the beauty, you have not known the futility of wealth. There remains a constant desire to be more and more rich. In order to know something, you have to be. You do not have money. You are standing with a begging bowl in your hand, and you are saying that money is useless. Your basic needs are not fulfilled in life, and you are saying the money is useless because Buddha said so. What is your experience? What have you known? Have you lived your life that you do not worry about the wealth? Yes, money is the measuring rod according to economics, but it is a means, not an end. It is a means to make your living. When you drive a Mercedes-Benz or BMW, does it drive you on the different kind of a road is the road for driving the Mercedes Benz, BMW is different than ordinary Toyota, or the traffic lights for each vehicle is different. Every vehicle is driven on the same common roads, and those who are driving the BMWs, they think themselves to be better than the others, and simple mannerisms do not have. You do not have, but you are standing with a begging bowl, and you are standing with a begging bowl, giving the sermon of Buddha that money is futile. Buddha was a king, he had everything. Mahavir was king, and he left everything and he became a beggar. You are a beggar, unfulfilled, and you are aspiring to be a Buddha. You have heard the words of Buddha, Nanak, Kabir. You are influenced by it. But your renunciation is not that of Buddha. In your renunciation is hidden the desires. Then what will happen? You are told that in after death this will happen, that will happen. This is what, there are so many stories in Indian scriptures. A sage is engrossed in his austerities, and the king of gods, Indra, gets frightened. He thinks that this sage is doing the austerities to get his throne. All these are symbolic. It simply shows that everyone is inflicted with desires, unfulfilled desires. There is competition, and you have not lived life in its totality. And unless you live life in its totality, in every aspect of life, the fulfillment, the rays of light will not emit out of you. You will be always unfulfilled and your words meaningless. The stories in the Upanishads are meaningful. They are saying all those who claim to be the awakened ones are not really. Otherwise, why one should be jealous of the other? Just as a tree is growing and in the process, in the season, the fruits appear on the tree. Unless the fruit gets ripe, it does not fall. Only the ripe mangoes fall naturally on the ground. And it is very easy to pick a ripe mango. Just a touch and the mango leaves the branch. But a green mango, the unripe mango, does not come out of the tree, of the branch so easily. So is the case with the desired lust. Unless it is fulfilled, it does not vanish. And when It is ripe means you have lived, it has lived in its life in its totality. It has undergone the process. When a green mango, it is very sour. When it is nourished and nurtured by the rays of the sun and the cooling rays of the moon, with the air, with the breeze, with the nourishment from the earth, these are symbolic. Then its life changes from sour, it becomes sweet. Can you imagine how does this transformation happens? The mango was not reading the scriptures. Mango lived its life as was ordained, as was programmed. The tree was programmed in a particular manner by the God or existence, that it will reach up to this stage, it will remain green, it will remain hard, and then when it is constantly nourished and nurtured by sun rays and the moon rays, nourished by the air, by the nourishment from the ground, from the earth, water, through the nourishment, nutrients will get dissolved in the water that earth absorbs, that comes from the clouds. Through the capillary system of the plant, it will reach the fruit. The fruit will continue its journey. It will journey of fulfillment. When it is fulfilled, it becomes a green mango, becomes yellowish. Its taste quality changes from sour to sweet, from passionate, unfulfilled. From passion it changes to compassion, love. Then and only then it becomes beneficial for that. Without living life in its totality, without allowing your mango to get ripe naturally, you have started sharing, reaching vasana, the lust, the desire, unless it is fulfilled, it is ripened, it does not vanish. You can force it to vanish. This is what is being done in order to get a higher crop. We are forcing it to ripe. You see the bananas, some kind of chemicals are sprayed over it. They are looking green from outside, and yet still they are ripe. So they are forced ripe. A forced ripe mango is not as tasty as when it is ripe naturally. We are all forced ripe. We are spiritually constipated. And we are sharing. When the desire is satiated, it vanishes as if it never existed. It is like the snake that changes its old skin. Very naturally the old skin comes out, and we all know that according to medical science, I do not want to quote the exact words, but the skin keeps on changing over a period of time. But the process is such a long that we do not see it. But we see the snake changing its skin. The skin and the skin, there is a particular name for it. I do not know the English name. The Hindi word is kechuli. This snake is changing it. So the snake may be black, it may be dark, but the skin when it is ripened, it is white, a silvery color. It comes out and it is mellow, like a green mango is hard, but a ripe mango is mellow, compassionate, loving, sharing its taste with everyone. And then it does not leave even a single scar. You come out spotless, as if the sun has risen and the flower has blossomed. Sun has risen and a flower has blossomed. Then you become a feast of consciousness. You become a feast of consciousness. Your words are emitting, flowing out of you, riding the wings of energy field of awakening. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.